Baby,
Hello.
watch
Your
out.
call cannot be taken at the moment.
Remind dear.
Please leave your message
Once
after the
again,
tone.
good evening, guys. Remember, when, where, who, however, there's a point. Viewers, listeners, likers, disclaimers. My suggestion, attention, is to recall what's going on. Hey, and I say, from the top of my lungs, there's an intuition. The ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning, which is appointed to our universal donors. The prince needed to donate blood to the princess because princess is a poor, basically needs to their body. Hence, women not hold important government posts of military commands as royals in absolute monarchies do. Women not also perform certain public, social, or ceremonial function as royalties practice in constitutional monarchies. And our lives may never be covered by media, but we children of God are far from blessed, for we will inherit from our Father the greatest inheritance, the eternal life in glorious holy city, where there shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, nor pain. Revelation 21, chapter 1 to 4. Fortunate, therefore, are we, members of the Church of Christ, in these last days, as God considers and addresses us, my sons from afar, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. For as such we are rightful, means that since we are His children, we will possess the blessings He keeps for His people, and we will also possess with Christ as God has kept for Him. He'll answer our prayers, moreover as God's people. Disclaimers. Basically, on my true-to-life story, I would like to share my opinion for all companionship. Basis in our situation now, pandemic crisis. The condition are globally consequences. Constantly need to do efforts. Being a human, I decided to work online networking, being one of a part. It's time to do valuable things. Needed a lot of participants. Wake up! Bible states, take heed therefore to yourselves, and to all the flock over which the Holy Spirit has appointed you overseers, to feed the church of Christ, which He has purchased with His blood. Acts 20, chapter 28, Lamsa translation. The question, how it works? The answers, blood. Family business. Blood is a thing we all need. Every 2 seconds, someone in the US needs a blood transfusion. Transport and distribute for oxygen, nutrients, waste product, hormones. Because Psycho was shot in black and white, the actual color of the syrup didn't matter, of course. Real red blood is real, always red, never blue. Technically, there are actually 35 human blood group systems. But as far as transfusion go, there are 2 important systems. One with 4 types, the A, B, AB, and O system. and one with a two types, positive and negative. So, it basics group totally. Sounds familiar. 8. Our blood is the one component of your body that we haven't figured out how to reproduce, synthesize, or imitate. Whole blood form elements, water dissolves molecules, types of transfusible product that can be derived from blood, red cells, platelets, plasma, and the last but not the least, 4. Cryoprecipitate, protein needed blood clotting. Donors can give either whole blood or just specific blood components, just as receivers can get whole blood or specific parts. Listeners, we need to understand and cooperate what's happening to each one of us. The apology is needed and open-minded through our heart's condition. Mind your own business. Business? Yeah, right. I regrets my dignity with a reputation for the sake of DNA test. For DNA, technically test for blood. Erythrocytes is the red blood carry oxygen and carbon dioxide, make up 45% of your total blood volume. The color is reddish, the first level, reddish, red or reddish, not radish, reddish. The second, leukocytes or leukocytes. I meant the white color. Second level is the white blood cells in a buffet coat, less than 1% of your blood. Platelets with blood clotting. Plasma, the yellowish color on third level. Level up, about 55% of your blood volume and 90% water, electrolytes, proteins, and gases, waste products, and hormones. Viewers, I just wanted to acknowledge knowledge is power. So why you don't try to know it so that everything is gonna be fine? Think positive while feelings are negative. Feed your mind. Obviously, negatively charged anions. Phosphate 1, sulfate 2, bicarbonate 3. Basically, positively charged calciums. Calcium 1, 2, sodium 3, potassium. Proteins make up about 8% of plasma solutes by weight. 60% of these proteins are albumin, 36% are globulin, and 4% is fibrinogen. Balance the osmotic pressure between the blood and surrounding tissues. There's an always issue because of pressure. Our blood pressure, prevention is better than cure. Hang on. Let's go back to our lessons. Plasma proteins. Types of transfusible product that can be derived from blood. Third part is the plasma proteins. Alpha globulins, made in the liver and transport proteins that binds to lipids, fat-soluble vitamins and metal ions. Albumin. Albumin proteins is made by liver and maintains osmotic pressure. Gamma. Globulin and antibodies released by plasma cells during an immune response. Fibrinogen proteins, vital to forming blood clots and stopping bleeding. Beta globulins, that is all about belongs to plasma proteins. Just like an our rule in everyday our life, guys. And each and every one has having make our own business. We have a role, each and every one. So there's a if there's a role, there's a participants. So there are both parties. So party people, can you please shut up? I just make a lesson for sake of our behavior. Likers, you have the right to remain silent. Mouth and tongue is useful, just like our eyes and two ears, belonging our different shapes of nose and angles of our face through one head. Turn on the lights together with the honorable 7 signs of effects. Just like your behavior, different signs of effects. It causes together abnormality because internal bleeding, there's an internal bleeding. Hemophilia. That is called hemophilia. Internal bleeding is usually more of a problem for people with hemophilia. Then, external bleeding, blood leaking inside the body. Maybe there's a problem because there are a lot of effects, 7 signs of effects, different behavior. There's an abnormality. I suggest they don't have anti-RH or antibodies. I mean rather, this is the problem. They don't have anti-RH antibodies except either positive or negative blood. Let us analyze, guys. Negative types actually can tolerate positive blood. Tolerate positive blood. But only one time after that, they form antibodies that target Rh positive antigens, which means they can never accept positive blood again. So, there's a problem. There's a problem of 7 signs of effects. It causes never accept positive blood again. That's the negative types. Never accept positive blood again. This can be a big problem. Maybe for Rh negative, mothers giving birth to Rh positive child, and there is some blood exchange. It's okay one time, but for any subsequent birth of a positive child, she'll need an ROGAM serum injection that contains anti-Rh antigens to block the mother's immune system for attacking her own bodies. So that's the effects of injection. Rh positive, they don't have anti-Rh either positive or negative blood. RH negative should stick to negative blood. That's why you always negative, guys. Because of maybe you're taking already a vaccination. That's the effects of your behavior. I suggest permission to talk, sir. Rewind. We have a right to do work our home. Being our homework, that's an order to our superior, our superior. Right? Priority to all no work or job. Well, it's inside job. If you don't mind, never mind. Your doubts and hesitation came from your heart problem. That's why mostly people having an abnormality for their behaviors. You must behave. It's a very important matter. Listen carefully. Commentators, well, let us go back. Again, listen to your heart. Be careful. Regarding our heart problem, we need to pursue ourselves to do something different. Just like this, what are we doing? Before we break, slowly calm down, focus on me, obey your thirst, take note. Body is the church. I guess nobody cares, exceptional to all believers. Head is Christ. Obey your thirst. According to Wikipedia, with the help of our very own excellency professionals with the doctors of cardiology heart study. Hemophilia. The internal bleeding is usually more of a problem for people with hemophilia than external bleeding, blood leaking inside the body. Hemostasis is the mechanism that leads to cessation of bleeding from a blood vessels. It is a process that involves multiple interlinked steps. This cascades culminates into the formation of a flagging that closes up the damaged sites. There's a damaged sites of the blood vessels, controlling the bleeding. So, however, it works excellently. The part 1, the blood. Let's go to the part 2 of blood. Because our blood is an incredibly powerful stuff. There's a powerful stuff of our blood. While it only makes up about 2% of our mass. The brain uses 25% of the oxygen. At rest, muscle can work anaerobically, but the brain cannot. That's the thing, form and function of the part 2. Take note, blood is incredibly powerful stuff. So we need a strategy. I guess we need a doping. What is doping? Administers drugs to a racehorse, greyhound, or athlete in order to inhibit or enhance sporting performance. So that's why there's a show business and there are a unity games. There's an events of show business and unity games. All in all, family business. There's an strategy to be. Form and function. That's our lesson for part 2 about the blood. Form and function. At the large surface area, a red blood cell surface area relative to volume is about 30% higher than comparable spherical cells, ideal for gas exchange. So there's a gas exchange. Try to analyze before your comments. Listen carefully, guys. This is a very important matter in ourselves, being a human. Are you a human? On the capillary, these cells don't live very long, surviving an average of only 120 days. Hemoglobin easily binds to SAD, releases oxygen. When oxygen and iron first bind in the lungs, that hemoglobin becomes oxyhemoglobin and turns bright red and changes shape. Then when oxygen detaches to diffuse from the blood into tissue cells, the result is dark red. That was we called the oxyhemoglobin. The oxyhemoglobin. The oxyhemoglobin. When carbon dioxide binds to globin, it forms carbaminohemoglobin. Take note, 4 iron atoms per molecules. Each cell contains 250 million hemoglobin molecules, a billion molecules of oxygen, just like us. People, party people. Free range hemoglobin would actually thicken the blood, making it so viscous that it would impede blood flow. Repeat after me. Impede blood flow. Erythrocytes. Those start off with a nucleus and DNA. Hashtag Hematopoiesis. Hemato, it means blood. Poiesis, to make. So that is what we call hematopoiesis. Hashtag sinusoid capillary. Inside the sinusoid capillary, there are 2 forming, that is what we call hemocytoblast and true erythroblast. So it's hard to pronounce the pronunciation. So why you don't try, guys, to do what I'm doing, so that you can imagine what are you doing, what they do and what I do. Hashtag ribosomes. The organelles that manufactures protein like erythroblast, reticulocyte. So it's hard to pronounce. What if we're doing that job, just like a cardiology on studying on heart? So we need to respect our professionalism, guys, because it's very hard to do the job, the rule, for our love life, for the sake of our love life. So we need a production. Hashtag love life. We need a production. But production sometimes destruction. Right? I guess we need to be careful. Production, no need destruction. Healthy, we need a healthy. Health is wealth. Healthy people are basically making and destroying about 2 million red blood cells per second. So healthy people are basically making. So are you healthy people? You need to know this. You need to know these lessons. Healthy people, take note. Healthy people are basically making and destroying about 2 million red blood cells per second. So our life is very important. So be careful. Just imagine, guys, if they don't have blood or if there's no blood, what is human and animals except plants? Well, don't forget, coated, free-range hemoglobin would actually thicken the blood, making it so viscous. That is what impede blood flow. That is what we call hypoxia. Hypoxia, inducible factor. Inducible factor monitors our blood is oxygen levels. So it monitors our blood oxygen levels. That is called hypoxia. So it's very important to human need an oxygen. HIF or HIF gets broken down by oxygen. So be aware, there's getting broken down by oxygen. Hashtag EPO or erythropoietin. Again and again. Repeat after me. Erythropoietin helps in maintaining the right levels of red blood cells. 2 million new red blood cells every second. Let us say, I say it again, the red blood cells graveyard. Sounds like familiarize, just like our family. There's our relatives and friends with the concept of horror movies. Oh, it's an old erythrocyte, hard for longer. So we need an injection. So maybe where you're finished in vaccine, so you must behave and listen carefully. Injection, EPO hormones, and using blood transfusion are also important and legit. So maybe it's a legit vaccination, right? Legit medical treatments that, for example, helping cancer patients and people with anemia increase their blood oxygen levels. So thanks to our doctors, all professional doctors, science and technology, doing their jobs very well. More red blood cells equals more oxygen being carried to your muscle, and therefore better physical performance. A red blood cells count that's too high thickens the blood, and that actually makes it harder for the heart to pump blood around the body. Let us check. I try to show. Speak. Do we have a precious heart? It means love. To preventing our future soul for long and lasting life. I'm sure if you're listening my lesson plan tonight, You gotta make sure your future's safe for at last. Remember, our concerned citizens in the past, our guardian angels, the great prophets, the greatest messenger, Messiah, and the last messenger, together with all heroes in the world, all over the universe, basically doing their great job through generation next. Here we go again. Roll BTR. Ready? Camera, action. Love between two lovers, for lover only. Lover, lover, boy. It's a boy. Really? Really? But I guess there is someone else beside, two steps behind. Behind the scene, on my dream, it's just like a true untold story. I saw in my eyes there's something inside different from others. Otherwise, maybe it's a girl waiting for the prince, rather king of hearts, or an apology for her. Here comes the bride. Breathing started a joke. It's the Joker's wild. It's just like an ironic, a little peculiar. Starting to the best refuge. During precarious situation, the faithful take refuge in the Almighty God. The best refuge, King David of Israel declared, "It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man," or in Princess, Psalm 118, chapter 8 to 9, New International Version. In my distress, I called to the Lord. He answered me and set me free. The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. Psalm 118, chapter 5 to 6, today's English version. And the Joker's wild speaks. Bible states, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path. My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands, and so find favor and high esteem in the sight of God and man." Proverbs 3, chapter 5 to 6, 1, 4, New King James Version. If you do not obey the law, God will find your prayers too hateful to hear. Proverbs 28, chapter 9. Translation English Version. So I also will choose harsh treatment. Maybe it's need a treatment. For them, I will bring upon them what they dream. For when I called, no one answered. When I spoke, no one listened. Didn't evil in my sight? There's an evil in my sight. And choose what displeases me. Isaiah 66, chapter 4, New International Version. And the guardian angels concerns. Hints even serious problem, the most debilitating of sorrows, the most agonizing, and most devastating or circumstances cannot crush the faithful. They firmly hold onto the promises of God and of Christ and remain as the branches of the vine, or faithful members of Christ, body of or church, earnestly serving God. They also understand that only in these two churches can man find the best reviews. Ephesians 2 chapter 12 to 13, Acts 20:28. Stand by, shining armor. Don't worry about anything. Bible states, don't worry about anything. But in all your prayers, ask God for what you need. Always asking Him with a thankful heart. Where's your heart? Listen to your heart. Check this out. And with all His abundant wealth, actions speak Christ Jesus louder than words. In the name of Jesus Christ, I try to show. Listen to your heart. My God will supply all your needs. Philippians 4 chapter 6 to 19. TEV or Translation English Version. Philippines, wandering, Filipino, Philippines. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayers and supplication with thanksgiving. Let requests be made known to God. Philippians 4 chapter 6, New King James Version. Philippines. Bullseye.